all my ladies, and all my punks. Hey, you like this? Welcome. I am your podcast host, Charlie Brixton. And with me, like vodka is a toothpaste from time to time. And we use recycled bags. And we're about to go hiking soon, right? It's my birthday weekend. My lovely co-host, Katie Bogart.
To nature. Hello.
No, I'm so excited. And welcome to another episode of Getting to the Pussy. Yes. So, y'all, we have, within the new year, we're kind of going to switch this up, right? We've been talking about what health and relationships and where do we see ourselves and intentions and all this stuff. And because this is the beginning of the new year, I thought that it was very important to touch on some other things, you know, our life and where we're going to go and where we're going, you know. And this episode is titled, Do You Still Want to Be a Star? This episode is dedicated to all of my arts conservatory kids, or my kids who went to school and theater, right?
Yeah.
Music, art, my football players, my athletes from college to elementary to basketball, you know, all of my lovely people who were now growing into adults. Some of us, we have families, some of us, we have kids, you know. But the question is, do you still want to be a star?
No.
You know, some of us are stuck in it. Some of us are in the middle of it. A little bit with my background, you know, of course, I'm a conservatory kid. You know, I've been in arts my whole entire life, theater and music. I've been screaming out the womb. And I would say when I move up to New York, you know, you have these dreams. You know, I'm going to go on Broadway. I'm going to sing. I'm going to do all these things. You know, and I did almost, well, except for the whole Broadway thing. But I felt like, you know, later in my 20s, I was honest about this. You know, I was singing professionally. I did all this stuff. And then before you know it, I have vocal nodules. For those who don't know what that is, it's nodules on your vocal cords. And basically, I can't sing anymore. You know, you can do raspy. I can do a lovely Rod Stewart impression. You know, I can sing like Anita Baker maybe once a month. But at this time, in my 20s, you know, I'm getting fired from gigs, you know, singing in shows because, hey, Charlie's voice is cracking out. Ooh, that bitch is cracking, you know? And so it's this thing where I had to make a decision like, okay, do we continue this? You know, am I going to go home and cry and get fired? Or do I say, all right, what can I do? You know, and I was lost around this time. And I felt like it was a cop out because I can say, oh, I can't do this no more because of medically. But it was like, oh shit, who am I? You know, I'm from Florida. I go home. Hey, where's your album? Why are you not singing? Hey, you know, people who haven't met, people you haven't seen in years. Hey, that's the first thing they ask, you know, and you're like, wait, this is not my, hold on, you know, but this is not my story today. I wanted to bring someone on here that's super special to me, that's dear to me. And we kind of wanted, because technically I would say when you kind of grow up as the fat girl, like the fat kid, whatever, nobody thinks you're going to be a star, but they kind of want you in the chorus. So I was like happy being the chorus member or whatever. But we have a guest who, in my opinion, of course, is a star and whatever. But I would love for, we have our host, JWoods. Hey, Jay, how are you?
What's going on?
We have JWoods, and a little bit about, I'm not going to tell you this because you can tell your own story, but a little bit about JWoods. JWoods, I guarantee you've seen him on TV. You've heard him. And I kind of wanted Jay to talk about his experience and where we are now. Sounds good?
Yeah, sounds great.
So Jay, you're a freaking conservatory kid, arts kids. Talk about it.
Oh my goodness, been in the arts since like elementary school, you know, third grade, first time performing in front of people singing Bobby Brown's Tenderoni. He was my idol. He was my idol. He was that guy. He was dope back, you know, back in that time, the late 80s.
Yeah, I remember.
So, you know, going to a conservatory, you know, being a guy and it's not a lot of guys in, you know, the arts.
Never, yeah.
You know, so the competition is not as, you know, stiff as it is for girls, but there are still guys that still want to do it. But, you know, going to a conservatory where you have hundreds of kids that audition and you are one of the selected to get in.
Which is a mind fuck. For those who know, when you're auditioning, you're like the one kid. And it's like you can always tell the folks who are like that in their 30s, 40s, or 50s because they're a little bit obnoxious. We'll talk about that too. But go for it.
But, you know, doing that and then at that time, you know, in high school, I got into both musical theater and voice.
Yeah.
So not only being a guy who got selected out of hundreds, but being a guy who got selected in 2 different disciplines, you know, and going to that high school, you know, they definitely soup you up to be, you know,
you're the one.
Right. To think in your mind that you are the greatest thing since sliced bread.
Which you are, but. Yeah.
Right. But what they did not teach, and I don't know how you teach it necessarily, is the humility, you know, the understanding that criticism is there to help you grow. Yeah. And just because that you're not being criticized or critiqued by somebody that you're training with doesn't invalidate their opinion, what, you know, the critiques they give you, especially if they're in the industry. Yeah. You know, leaving high school, you know, auditioning for shows, being on television, you know, being from Miami, dropping, you know, songs with some great artists in Miami, you know, shout out to Trick, you know, Rick Ross, you know, doing, you know, songs with them, working with all different kind of producers. And you have this certain air about you because you think you are that dude, you know, and then you have people around you that are telling you you're that dude. Yeah. But then it gets to a point where you have to realize that I am not really growing so much like I was at one point in time when I was receptive to the critiques because I was in school and that's who I was getting critiques from. So, you know, now, you know, when you're in a place where there's a lot of yes people around you that pretty much give you and do for you everything that you ask because that's their job. Yeah. It, you know, it doesn't affords you the opportunity to grow as much.
It does, and it stifles you, I think, from growing in the industry. You know, one thing I realized about a lot of my classmates and colleagues, that maybe you are talented, but maybe it's you. Maybe you have to change your thinking.
Right.
Well, I think an important thing that, and I think in society we're getting rid of it, is rejection can be a good thing.
It can. Weaponize your rejection. I love that.
He got rejected and he said, you know what? Well, I'm going to have to work and I'm going to have to work differently. You work, if you've been rejected, you work differently than someone who hasn't been rejected.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, Michael Jordan didn't make the basketball team. Yeah. You know, and then he came out to be one of the best basketball players of all time. Yeah. What if he made that basketball? Maybe he would have just been cocky and he would have been a Dennis Rodman and just been there like, Did you guys hear most sports references I just did?
I know. You're so pop culture. I love it.
But she has a very valid point. Yeah. You know? It does make a difference when you don't get that rejection because the problem is when you finally do, you're like, wait, you
know who I am?
You didn't pick me? Yeah. I was the best one in this room. Well, you know, we fail to realize that they may not have been, it may not be because you weren't the best, but you're 6'2", and everybody in the cast is 5'7".
Or nobody wants to work with the asshole.
Right. Yeah.
Nobody wants to work with the jerk.
You're not the best anymore because you thought you were the best, and you
stopped working.
And you didn't go home and drink your lemon water.
Come on,
you went out, you drank all night, you smoked the cigarette, and then you're in there to sing, and they go, "Well, we're gonna pick this person," and you're all, "What?"
Right.
Yes. No, it's true. It's true. And that's why I love Shonda Rhimes. You know, Shonda Rhimes, when she got rid of that huge doctor, and she was like, no assholes, like no ego is big enough for this show. You know, that says something. You can't have bad behavior anymore. Right. You know, I remember when you had your TV show. Yeah, I remember in Cali, there was a certain TV show. And I remember you were the best one, you know. But I remember how awful you were at the same time.
And I think that was, looking back at it now, that became the eye-opener. When people who are in the industry, they give you the critiques that you're supposed to receive to get better. And you say,
do you know how?
You say, you know, I respect the judges' opinions, but that's exactly what they are. Opinions. Wow.
You said that on TV. Wow. I remember.
And you are 22 years old. You know nothing. You've done nothing.
Get in.
And I am, you know, you're talking to people who have received Grammys and, you know, are now performing every week, opening up for a talk show late night, or, you know, they're performing instrumentation for people who are huge artists like Mariah Carey and Beyonce and Usher and Prince. And you act like that?
Get in.
Wow.
You know they were looking at you like, and you're not listening to my
right. Yeah. So, you know, but then it gets to a point where you have to realize, you know, you have to think about is this really what you want? Because if it is,
ooh, that's good.
There are things that you're going to have to change.
Yes. And and people realize that, I love what you said, is it really what you want? You know, just because you can do something well doesn't mean you want to do it.
Right.
You know, I realize, yes, I can sing my ass off and I love it and I love music and I love it, but this is what I want to do. No, I was always in high anxiety, crying every time I would have to sing or stage, you know, and I felt this relief when I was out of it. You know, for yourself, I remember you were with a record label and all you wanted to do, you used to sneak out the hotel rooms to hang out.
Right, to go, because all I really wanted to do was like find a boo, kick it, and go out. You know, you schedule a movie date and it's like, okay, well, you know, you know, you got to go to the studio. Yeah. Jay, we need you in the studio. Okay, now I have to call my movie date and cancel my movie plans. After a while, it was like, it sucks having to do that all the time. Yeah. And I began to realize that there was something more that I wanted. And it wasn't necessarily to be a star. Did I enjoy singing? Yeah. Did I enjoy dancing? Yeah. But it wasn't as fulfilling as it once had been. And now what became more fulfilling was actually, you know, finding somebody, you know, to spend the rest of my life with. Somebody who was okay with who I was outside of JWoods. Yeah. The artist, the singer, the dancer, the writer, you know, somebody who I could, you know, quote unquote, let my hair down with and act a fool with and not be worried about, you know, how the masses perceive me. Because when you're on television and you look on the internet and you see that everybody is saying awful things about you because you're an awful person, it does get to you. And then you have to sit back and say, do I want that? Because when you're an artist, art is meant to be judged. Yeah. Do I want to be judged? Because ideally that's what you would be, that's what would be going on as an artist. Yeah. You know, do I want to put my work out there to have people, do I want, and if it is judged and everybody likes it, do I want what comes along with everybody liking what it is you do?
Yeah, you may not have privacy.
Right.
Anymore.
There's no privacy, especially now, you know, we come from an era where, you know, privacy was what we lived by. Yeah. And now that is not the case.
No. It's like, hey, I'm having this breakfast. Look at me. I'm drinking
Watch me eat. That is how.
Or people just filming you. I mean, that's what I think about. Like, could you imagine like all the stupid things that you did if that was like,
especially at that time when I was in my 20s. Yeah. I'm glad we didn't have the technology we have now then, because we'd be in trouble.
No, I do want to say that because for the listeners who aren't artists, you know, and even you said it earlier,
dreams sort of.
It's to really do it, and we all know this because we all actively pursued. It does take up all of your time,
right?
And you know, it's what you eat, you breathe. I mean, especially when you are climbing that hill for success. And I think what you were saying is, you know, then you start to find out you want a bit more balance.
Right.
I want love. I want
you want certain things. You get over.
Right.
I want to be able to
experiencing things. Yeah.
I want to be able to go home and watch Netflix and not worry. Yeah. You know.
Or I want to be like Celine Dion and you need to open up Bergdorf Goodman for me at 3 a.m. in the morning because I want to go shopping with a cheesecake. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I hear you.
No,
sorry. I hear you.
But yes, things like that, there's things that you want to do. And, you know, especially if you get to that point where a lot of people say they want to I want to be a star. Yeah. Okay, but if you get to that stardom, you think about, you know, people like Beyonce and Chris Brown and you know, people who can't do anything without, and it's not somebody they necessarily hire. Yeah. But if you go somewhere and people have a phone, you can't do anything without being exposed for everything.
Or the deeper question is, and I think that is something that we all have to ask ourselves, why do you want to be a star? Let's take a minute. Why do you want to be a star? You know, when I see some young artists, different things, you know, and it's like, why? You know, and I've asked someone, why do you want to be a star? You know, someone told me, I want to get back at my ex-boyfriend. I felt like I could never be seen, you know? Or someone is like, because I dreamt of it, I watched TV, you know? Yeah. And it's like,
is that a good reason?
you know, maybe not a good reason, but is that your reason?
Yeah.
You know, why? Maybe you have to ask yourself that.
You know, when I moved to California, when I made that decision and I talked to my mom about it, my response, and I was, you know, in my early 20s, I said to her then, I said, you know, I'm not doing this move because I want to be on the cover of People magazine. It was, I love comedy. And my ultimate goal is I just want to make money doing what I love.
I love that.
So I never had that ambition of like, I'm going to be the most famous person in the world. Because I do agree, like the people who I knew who did have that, it usually was for something else.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to be a star because I was told that's what I'm going to do.
Or it's given to you, right? You're a star. You heard that your whole life.
Right.
And you're like, oh, shit.
So I have to step into this role of being the star because that's what people say. But
and we wonder why so many celebrities do the opposite once they do get that, right? And it's like, ooh, you went to jail or you fell off a building or you went to oh, shit. And you didn't want to be that. Go ahead.
Right. But then that's when you say, you know, when you have people who say, I just wanted to do it because I can, you know, I just want to be able to make money from something I enjoy doing. Yeah. For those people, if stardom comes, then it's like, okay, I'll take it. I didn't ask for it, but that's what came with me doing what it is I love.
Money, what I love.
So
I love that thought. I love that thought, JWoods.
When you do things, when you make money from what you love to do, then it's no pressure. It's no like, you know, when people work so hard to make that first album and they work 10 years, they put all their blood, sweat and tears in that first album. And then it's time to put that second album out and we need it in 9 months. It's no longer, it has to be manufactured. It's no longer organically made like it was for 10 years. You were just going through things for 10 years and you wrote that album.
Well, you know what? It leads me back, and I hate doing references, but it leads me back to the Netflix show You, right? There's this character, for those who I'm not going to do spoilers, but there's like the twin brother, who is like, you know, an artist. He was a famous writer. He had this one great project, and then now he's kind of seen as a loser. He's like, oh, I'm working on this. Oh, I'm coming to this. And he never really does it. You know, and he says what he is, but he doesn't do it. You know, he spends all of his day looking over a store and drinking lattes and hovering over his twin sister, and he's not in it, but he constantly says it, and he's ruining his life over it. He's drinking, he's getting, you know, and it's like, do you want this?
Right.
What do you want? Which leads me into singing. You know, I can't sing no more. And I was talking to, I can sing, but every now and then. And I was talking to someone who basically was like, okay, great. You don't have that kind of voice, but your instrument is there.
Right.
And you have this gift and you were born with this gift and your gift is to connect with people. So how are you using your instrument now? And I was like, oh shit. You know, then before you know it, 2 months later, hey, we're in this podcast.
See,
I never thought I would be doing this ever.
Right.
Ever. Yeah.
So then you think about, for me, you know, I was an R&B singer.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm always singing and writing songs about love, about heartbreak, about getting back together, about, you know, feeling this feeling deep inside that you just want to express. And then to hear people say, you know, when you sang that song about, you know, how I have to be selfish, you know, I got to think about me. Yo, bro, that song touched me. That song, I felt what you were saying because I'm going through the same thing with my girl. Or to hear, you know, how you felt once you broke up and that when you were talking about, you know, I just want to, burn your stuff, or, you know, you wrote that song when you said that. Yeah. And then you have a young lady who's like, yo, I felt that. I almost went to the bathroom and burnt down.
Yes.
Okay, don't do that. But, you know, but that, to know that, you know, you affect people that way, it now made me transition into something different.
Well, speaking of something different, for those who don't know, and is your IG page up yet?
No. You know, me and social media, I'm working on. I'm going to work on loving social media.
So for those who don't know, JWoods is actually a relationship love coach. I'm so excited. We've been doing this for a couple of years.
Yeah.
And the fun thing about it is we would go to these different bars and people would write down their issues and their problems and we would talk about it and go back and forth. And I remember, do you remember your jingle business?
Oh my goodness.
Where you would write songs for people who like, I saved one by the way, for people who would like cheat or whatever. And JWoods would like write apology songs and like sing it for 2 minutes and sing it to, it was a good gig. I think you should do it again. Do you remember, and this is horrible, but this is one of my favorite ones because I was laughing my ass off. I couldn't believe you did this. Yeah, I'm going to try my best, but you could probably sing it better than me. Here we go. You kept it tight and it wasn't right. I cheated on you once or twice, but tonight I'm going on Facebook And I'm going to say, I'm going to get this right. I can't see you tonight. I can't see you tonight. I can't see you tonight because it ain't right. No more cheating on my wife. Am I off rhythm?
No, you got it. I can't believe she even has this.
You kept it tight and I wasn't right. I cheated on you twice, but I'm going on Facebook tonight.
Listen.
Remember how the song goes? It was good.
You kept it tight.
Hey,
Cause I wasn't right.
Hey, come on, what you got?
But tonight, I'm going on Facebook Live. Hey, and going to make it right. Let me stop this. Okay, that's it.
Goodbye, Anna. Goodbye, Denise.
People always, that's something that at that time, people, they when somebody says, listen, you can sing, that was something even in middle school. Yeah. I remember I used to have guys that come up to me, listen, it's my girl's birthday. One song that was like really popular then was Shy's, If I Ever Fall in Love Again. And I would, every girl with brown eyes would get that song sung to them on their birthday. So it was like, if you didn't have brown eyes,
January 19th, I want that song sung to me. Thank you. You got one more day. Go for it.
Being able to, do it now, it was cool. Yeah. It was something that, they need it. If you ask for it, hey, I got you, brother.
Can you still do it again?
I could help you out if you need, a makeup song. I got you.
You kept it tight. And I wasn't right.
Hopefully,
I cheated twice.
I'm a little more 2020 with it.
You go on Instagram.
Right. and do relationship songs.
But before we wrap up, and this is for people that are listening, I don't give a damn if you're in your 20s or 30s. If you still want to be a star, be a star, right? But know why you want to be it.
Right.
And then align yourself. Don't talk shit. Don't be like, oh, I'm going to be this, whatever. And you're talking and you're not doing it because you're going to make yourself miserable. If you're saying you're a writer, then write that script. Write a page. At least you can show a page and say, hey, I'm not a liar. Right. Or you're not saying I'm like, because I feel like when you lie to yourself, that's when you start to disappear. Yeah. And for those who are in your 30s and your 40s and you're talented as hell, for my Juilliards, my Columbias, my New Worlds, all the people. And if you have not been booked, right? And if no one wants to work with you, understand it's maybe not them, it's probably you.
Right.
Understand, maybe when you go into the room, you are the best one, right? But maybe you want to find some other best ones or absorb, or if they're not like you, get them like you. Instead of ridiculing and saying, you're not like me. And I think if we change our attitudes and if we just become better people, then you make it what you want.
Right.
What's up?
It's just like go into that room knowing you're the best one because it's you. You are the best one that you can do.
You're there.
But everyone's the best one. Right. Respect everybody. Why are you in that space? Yeah. I think we forget that a lot. Like I've even caught myself before, where I'm like, oh, well, this isn't good enough for me. No, if it's not good enough for me, then I can either bring it up or I can walk away.
And that's it. Right on.
But having an attitude there, what's that going to do?
What's
that
it going to do?
Help.
Right on.
At all.
I'm with you. So, JWoods, do you still want to be a star? Well, you are a star.
If I'm doing what I love and stardom comes along with it, then I don't mind because it's what I love to do. And when I say what I love to do, as long as everything that I love to do is able to be done and that nothing has to be diminished, then I'm down. I'm game.
Cool. Katie, you kind of answer your question. Do you still want to be a star?
Well, I think everyone should want to be a star and be a star in your own life. And I think exactly figure that out, If being a star is that your children look at you like you're the best mother, then be the best mother, as long as you're like always taking care of yourself.
Yes.
And I think that's a big thing for me when I was really, really, really pursuing. I also forgot to take care of myself.
Oh, I love that. Take care of yourself. Mm-hmm.
But for sure. I mean, I still want to do comedy. I mean, I touch people, with my jokes.
You're funny.
People come up to me and be like, that yeast infection joke, I got it. It touched me right here in my heart. Thank you.
Yes.
I'm done. I can't.
I love it. You know, and I think including me, it's like, no, I really do want to open up 3 a.m. Bergdorf Goodman and go shopping. And I do really want access to, and I can be in a room. I can. But no, people, get to where you want to be. Be honest before you get to your pussies. JWoods, I'm so excited. We're not done with you yet. We're going to have your next session where I'm the prize. I cannot wait to talk to you about relationships and love. But for now, we are very excited. We're going to end this episode, and you got to your pussy. You got to your pussy, and I got to my pussy, because I really want Bergdorf Goodman. I'm very happy I had the Celine Dion moment. We love you guys, from man, females, unicorns, trans, amoebas. We love you. Take care of yourself. Love yourself. Know what the hell, why you want it, and do that shit. And do it well. I like it. Do you love it? Hey! JWoods, can you write me a song? Talk about my pretty brown eyes.
All day.
And my large tits. Thank you.